Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the star of our show, Terry.
The world is dark and selfish and cruel. If it finds even the slightest ray of sunshine, it destroys it. Ah, Mother Gothel, kidnapper, manipulator, passive-aggressive queen, and somehow still one of the most quotable characters in all of Disney. Welcome, everyone, to The Music and Me, the podcast where we celebrate the songs that move us, shake us, and occasionally make us want to laugh maniacally while plotting someone's downfall. I'm your host, Terry, and today we are stepping into the shadows because it's time to talk about the real stars of Disney musicals, the villains. Let's be honest, the heroes, they get their happily ever afters, but the villains, they get all the bangers. They slither into the scene with dramatic lighting, a flair for the theatrical, and musical numbers that make pure evil sound kind of irresistible. Ursula, Broadway legend. Scar, vocal menace with a vision board. Mother Gothel, manipulation in mezzo-soprano. And let's not forget Dr. Facilier, who somehow turned a tarot card reading into a Mardi Gras rave hosted by demons. If you've been listening to this show for a while, you already know how much I love villains and their songs. I even did a whole episode about some of the best villain numbers from Broadway musicals, which I'll link in the show notes. Because there's just something about a villain song with a strong belt and a backup chorus that makes me feel alive. But today it's all about the animated chaos. It's time for the Disney villains to take center stage. These songs aren't just catchy, they're iconic. They make you want to strut into a room in a swirl of smoke, monologue in perfect rhyme, and raise an eyebrow so sharply it could cut glass. So put away your glass slippers and woodland creature sidekicks because this episode is all about the villains. Their drama, their sass, their incredibly underrated playlists, and why deep down we all kind of love them. So let's get into it, if you dare. In the world of Disney villain songs, I have to start with the Sea Witch herself. Ursula didn't just sing a song, she gave a whole performance. Poor Unfortunate Souls isn't just about tricking Ariel into giving up her voice. No, this is Ursula hosting her own one-woman show under the sea. She slinks around that creepy glowing cave like she's headlining at a haunted underwater cabaret. That voice? Sultry. The attitude? Deliciously shady. She doesn't scream or shout. She coos. She pretends to be sympathetic while literally plotting to destroy a teenager's life. And the way she delivers those lines, the men up there don't like a lot of blabber. Please. She's clearly having the time of her life being manipulative, and we kind of love her for it. Everything about this song, from the green lightning to the swirling souls trapped in jars, is iconic. And let's be honest, when she belts out that final poor unfortunate souls, it's so over-the-top fabulous that you kind of forget how evil she actually is. She's not just casting spells, she's casting a spell on us, the audience, and we're buying it. Ursula is one of my favorite Disney villains. I've always liked Ursula, and Poor Unfortunate Souls is probably my second favorite Disney villain song. My favorite one is the one I'm going to talk about next. But I love Ursula and how manipulative she is while still being kind of charming. But if we're talking about smooth-talking, suave villains, then we have to talk about Scar. Be Prepared is one of those songs that make you sit up straight. Because Scar doesn't roar. He prowls. He stalks. And when he sings, it's like he's laying out a grand evil vision for a Broadway war musical. The song starts with this eerie, slinky melody, and Scar begins pacing, whispering, manipulating. He's not just telling the hyenas what to do, he's casting himself as the star of a dark revolution. And then the music swells. And suddenly, It's full-on villainous pageantry. Fire, shadows, lightning. The hyenas start marching like an army, and Scar's up there like some twisted dictator dramatically gesturing about how he'll take over the throne. It's theatrical, it's chilling, and it's somehow still incredibly catchy. Scar may be one of the most treacherous characters in Disney history, but when he says be prepared, you believe him. The drama of it all, perfection. And like I said, Be Prepared is my favorite Disney villain song. I love The Lion King in general, and I was lucky enough to see this song performed live on Broadway just a few weeks ago, and it was amazing to see it in person. But Be Prepared has always been my favorite Disney villain song. I love it so much, and I love Scar as a villain. If you thought Scar was dramatic, wait until we step into the smoky, neon world of New Orleans for a little voodoo magic. Dr. Facilier's Friends on the Other Side feels like a haunted carnival ride with jazz hands. It starts all charming and smooth. He's pulling cards, offering fortunes, making deals, but you can feel the danger bubbling underneath. And when that purple glow starts to creep in and the shadows come alive on the walls, it's on. The music builds, the spirits start swirling, and Facilier gets really creepy real fast. He's not just a con man, he's a showman with a direct line to the underworld. Are you ready? He asks. And let's be honest, no one ever is. And that ending, with the green light flashing, spirits swirling, and Naveen getting turned into a frog, that's what I call villainy with a beat. Facilier has style. He doesn't just curse you, he curses you with a full production number. Now, I gotta be honest, The Princess and the Frog, I seen a long time ago when my niece brought her VHS tape over when I used to keep her during the summers, and we watched it, but I did not pay attention to it, and I didn't watch this movie again until the night before I recorded this podcast. But The Princess and the Frog is a great movie, and the music in it is awesome. And this was a great villain song, and Dr. Facilier is a great villain. Let's slow things down just a little bit, because not every villain needs fire and shadows. Some villains use something much scarier, guilt. Mother Knows Best might be one of the most chilling villain songs of all because it sounds so sweet. Mother Gothel walks into Rapunzel's tower and sings this little lullaby that, on the surface, feels motherly and caring. But when you actually listen to the words, no. Oh no. This is manipulation 101. She doesn't need a magic spell. She's using psychological warfare. Skip the drama, stay with mama. I mean, it sounds harmless, but what she's really doing is crushing Rapunzel's confidence, feeding her fear, and making sure she never wants to leave that tower. And the way she smiles through it all, like she's the victim, wow. Donna Murphy's voice brings that Broadway weight too. The range, the control, the sass. And when she flips into the reprise later, that mask just drops. She gets cold. You want me to be the bad guy? Fine. That's the moment you realize she always was. No fire, no henchmen, just words sharp enough to cut. I also love Mother Gothel as a villain, and Mother Knows Best is a really good song. It sounds sweet on the surface, but she's really scaring Rapunzel into not leaving that tower. Of course, sometimes a villain doesn't even realize he is the villain. Enter Gaston. Oh, Gaston. His song might be the most upbeat red flag ever written. The man's been rejected, and instead of dealing with it, he storms into the tavern, and the entire town decides to cheer him up with a musical number. It's a celebration of everything ridiculous. Antler decor, spitting contest, chest hair. It's all so extra. But underneath the laughs and LeFou's over-the-top adoration, there's something darker happening. Gaston isn't just being praised, he's being enabled. This man is entitled, arrogant, and increasingly unhinged. And everyone's cheering him on. No one plots like Gaston. Yeah, no kidding. By the end of the song, we're not just laughing, we're uncomfortable. Because this is what happens when a whole town props up a villain and calls it heroism. The song is fun, but the consequences, not so much, right? I love Gaston as a villain too. He's so arrogant and thinks he's number one, and it's hilarious when Belle rejects him. Beauty and the Beast is one of my favorite Disney movies ever, by the way. Now we've got a short song, but a song that really packs a punch. It's the Prince Ali reprise from Aladdin. Now look, Jafar, he doesn't need a 5-minute power ballad. He just takes Aladdin's big, flashy entrance number and twists it like a knife. He exposes him in front of everyone, strips away the glam, mocks his great parade, and then, with one wave of his staff, bam, sends him flying across the desert. It's petty, it's cruel, and it's kind of brilliant. Jafar doesn't just defeat his enemy, he roasts him while doing it. And that smug little laugh at the end, iconic. Next up is the most intense, emotionally charged, and flat out terrifying Disney villain song ever written. We're going straight into the fire now with Frollo from The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Hellfire. This song is on a whole different level. It's not just dark, it's terrifying. We've entered a place where the villain doesn't even think he's the villain, much like Gaston. Only he's a lot more a villain than Gaston. Judge Claude Frollo honestly believes he's doing God's work, and that makes him one of the most dangerous villains Disney's ever created. Hellfire isn't just about desire, it's about repression, guilt, power, and obsession. The contrast is haunting. You've got the beautiful Latin choir chanting Mea culpa like a church hymn in the background, while Frollo is literally begging for salvation and blaming Esmeralda for his own twisted thoughts. It's not my fault, he says. It's the gypsy girl, the witch, who sent this flame. He's convinced that if she doesn't submit to him, she needs to be destroyed. And the visuals? Wow. The fire, the shadows, the red-robed spirits looming over him as he wrestles with his lust and hatred. Feels like a horror opera. This song gives me chills every time. It's operatic, intense, and unlike any other Disney song. You don't sympathize with Frollo, but you understand just how far gone he really is. And by the time he says, God have mercy on her, God have mercy on me, but she will be mine or she will burn, you realize there's no redemption coming. He's gone. Frollo is one of the scariest villains, but I love The Hunchback of Notre Dame. It has always been a Disney movie that I've absolutely loved. And Hellfire is what you call a villain song. It's very dark and scary. Even for Disney. For Disney, it's the darkest one I think they have. So after all that intensity, let's pivot to a villain who's just fabulously evil in a completely different way. Cruella de Vil. Now that is a name that sends people running, and she doesn't even need magic, minions, or manipulation. She just pulls up in a cloud of smoke and danger with that long cigarette holder and a coat made of what? That's right, puppies. And she's not subtle about it. The song Cruella de Vil is technically sung about her, which makes it even more fun. Roger can't even contain himself. Before she even walks through the door, he's already turning his disgust into a song on the spot. That jazzy little piano melody, the dramatic pauses, the lyrics that make her sound like some kind of monster from an old horror film. If she doesn't scare you, no evil thing will. Iconic. And here's the thing. Everything about her is exaggerated in the best way. Her fashion, her car, her laugh. She doesn't try to manipulate or play it cool. She's a diva with one goal. Get those Dalmatian puppies and make a fur coat. It's awful and absolutely unforgettable. She might be one of the most stylish villains ever, and definitely one of the most fun to watch. And you know, as soon as you hear that little melody, you're already humming it. Cruella de Vil, Cruella de Vil. She's not hiding her evil, she's making it fashion. Each of those songs is more than just a musical number, it's a full blown moment. It gives us insight into the villain's mind, lets them steal the spotlight, and, let's be honest, gives us something way more fun to sing in the car than whatever the prince was mumbling about. I love Cruella de Vil also. As you know, I love villains, and Disney villains are some of my favorite villains ever, but I've always loved Cruella de Vil. She's just awesome. She looks cool and scary at the same time. So, what is it about villain songs that make them so irresistible? Why do they always go harder than the hero ballads? In the next part, I'll unpack the magic and madness behind our love affair with the dark side. But first, here's my interesting fact of the week. Stay tuned, darlings. Welcome to my interesting fact of the week. Let's take a quick detour from our villainous vocal showcase for a segment I like to call Dark Little Secrets, Sinister Facts About Disney Villain Songs. Because let's face it, behind every dramatic cackle and evil plan is a composer with flair and a key signature in mind. First off, did you know that villains usually get way better music than the heroes? It's true. While the protagonists are over there singing sweet motivational ballads, the villains are pulling out full Broadway spectacles, often in minor keys no less, because nothing says I'm about to ruin your life like a minor chord progression. And here's the thing, most Disney villains only get one song, just one shot to strut in, monologue and melody, and completely own the soundtrack. And somehow, they always do. Oh, and many of our favorite villain songs, they were almost cut. Yep, studio execs often panicked and said, "Is this too dark for kids?" Spoiler alert, kids love it. We all do. Give us more creepy shadow spirits and ominous organ riffs, please and thank you. And if you listen closely, these songs aren't just catchy little evil plans. They reveal something deeper: fear, ambition, rejection. It's not just about stealing voices or conquering kingdoms. It's about why they want to. That's where the real drama is, and that's what makes them unforgettable. Also, can we take a moment for the villains who never got a song? Maleficent, Lady Tremaine, I'm looking at you. Total missed opportunities. But the fans, we don't forget. We write the songs for them because every great villain deserves a great musical number. It's just common courtesy. So the next time someone says villain songs are just filler, just smile sweetly and plot your next musical monologue in a minor key. Now, back to our lineup of melodious mayhem. Welcome back, everybody. Now, let's glide into the part where we pull back the velvet curtain, stroke our imaginary goatee, and ask the big question. Why do we love villain songs so much? Why are we out there humming Poor Unfortunate Souls while doing dishes like we're casting spells on sponges? Well, first, there's the drama. Disney villain songs don't just tell you how the bad guy feels. They perform it like they're auditioning for Phantom of the Opera and RuPaul's Drag Race all at the same time. These songs are dripping with theatrical flair, high stakes, big egos, and a flair for the fabulous. Take Be Prepared, for example. Scar's practically conducting a fascist hyena army in The Lion King, but somehow it's still a bop. It's so well produced, you forget it's basically a musical TED Talk on treason. Or Friends on the Other Side. Dr. Facilier turns a tarot reading into a full-blown nightclub act, complete with the glowing skulls and trombone solos. Do we approve of him cursing people? Of course not. Do we want to see that show live in New Orleans? Yes. Then there's the manipulation factor. Villains say what the heroes can't. They're honest in the most dishonest way possible. They don't whisper sweet nothings, they monologue, loudly, with choreography. Mother Gothel gaslights Rapunzel with a song so catchy, you almost forget it's emotional abuse with jazz hands. Mother knows best? Ma'am, this is a hostage situation, not a Hallmark card. And let's not forget the sheer style. Heroes get hopeful melodies and key changes. Villains get ominous chords, minor keys, and instrumentals that say, I'd sell my own grandma for power and a matching cape. These songs have flair, swagger, and sometimes a horn section. Even their lyrics are sharper. Take Jafar's Prince Ali reprise. He cuts through Aladdin's lies with a smirk and a rhyme. It's villainous slam poetry. Gaston turns his entire village into a hype squad, and he eats 5 dozen eggs a day. That's not just showmanship, that's performance art. Villain songs also let us live a little wickedness without the consequences. We know the villains lose, but for 3 glorious minutes, they win. They're bold, they're confident, they're extra. And sometimes they make a point. Ursula, she's not wrong about men preferring women don't talk. Cruella, honestly, she's just a fashion icon with boundary issues. And Scar? I mean, Simba was taking his sweet time moving out of the way. These songs let us indulge in a little rebellion. They say, what if I didn't play nice? What if I demanded what I wanted and did it with a high note and a sinister grin? It's like eating cake for breakfast. You know it's not good for you, but it feels amazing while it lasts. So yes, the world is dark and selfish and cruel. And that's exactly why we cling to the songs that sing back with a bite. Because deep down, we don't just want a happy ending. We want a killer soundtrack on the way there. Next, let's dive into the glittering dungeon of Disney's deep cuts. The songs, buried like cursed treasure beneath the Broadway showstoppers, just waiting to be unearthed by the most devoted of Disney villain connoisseurs. These aren't your let it goes or be prepareds. These are the underrated, the overlooked, the melodically mischievous gems that deserve their moment in the dark, dramatic spotlight. First up, let's sail back to Neverland, where we find the elegant Captain Hook. Now, Hook may be terrified of ticking clocks and crocodiles with vendettas, but when it comes to style, the man is a fashion-forward menace. This song is basically a tutorial in villainous poise. He twirls his mustache with every note. He's fussy, he's fancy, and he's the only pirate who could make a ruffled shirt look threatening. Honestly, if he hosted a villainous version of Project Runway, I'd probably watch it. Then slither on over to the Jungle Book, where Kaa the snake softly hisses one of the creepiest lullabies ever composed. Trust in me. It's hypnotic, literally. He's gaslighting a child with jazz flute. Kaa doesn't need flashy choreography. He just coils himself around your conscience and gently sings you into submission. It's for people who like their bedtime stories with a hint of danger. Now, if you prefer your chaos with a side of glitter and cackling, allow me to reintroduce the criminally underappreciated Mad Madam Mem from The Sword in the Stone. This unhinged sorceress practically invented unfiltered villain energy before it was trendy. She sings her madness with the glee of someone who's had way too much coffee and absolutely zero supervision. And can we talk about the transformation duel she has with Merlin? Iconic behavior. A shape-shifting power ballad in the middle of a cartoon wizard brawl? More, please. And for the deep, deep cut, we're talking VHS trilogy level deep. There's Are You In or Out from Aladdin and the King of Thieves. This song is what happens when Broadway villains meet back alley crime bosses. It's gritty, it's dramatic, it's basically Ocean's 11 meets Agrabah, and it slaps. The villain in question is Saluk, a guy who looks like he wrestled a lion and won. And he's trying to recruit a bunch of thieves with a musical pep talk that's honestly kind of persuasive. And now for the crown jewel of Disney villain deep cuts, the song that never even made it to the final film, Snuff Out the Light. Yes, I'm talking about Yzma's deleted villain song from The Emperor's New Groove. I love her in the movie, although this movie is not one of my favorites, but I do love her in the movie. She is fabulous. But this song is Yzma Unleashed. We get her tragic backstory, her obsession with beauty, and a villainous disco beat so funky it could raise the dead. It's spooky, it's campy, it's Sondheim meets Studio 54, and it was cut from the film like some kind of crime against villainy. I still haven't forgiven Disney for this one. Let her sing, I mean, goodness. So if you're someone who already knows every lyric to Gaston and does jazz hands when Ursula hits her final high note, dig deeper. There's a whole layer of villainous fabulousness beneath the surface. You just have to slink through the shadows, cue the ominous underscore, and hit play. Because sometimes the best villain songs are the ones hiding in the shadows, waiting to make their comeback. All right, let's take one final wicked little turn before we say our sinister goodbyes. You did not think I'd end this dark parade without dragging a brand new Disney villain into the layer, did you? Let's talk about the deliciously diabolical song from Disney's Wish, the 2023 animated film that gave us glittering star magic, a talking goat, and a villain so slick he practically oozes control. Enter King Magnifico, who might just be the most millennial villain Disney's ever created. He's got that charming politician energy, the kind that smiles through their teeth while slowly stealing your soul. And his villain song? It's a banger. The track is called This Is the Thanks I Get, and it is petty perfection. He's ranting about not getting enough appreciation for hoarding people's wishes. Seriously. The man is imprisoning people's hopes and dreams in glowing jars like some twisted Pinterest board, and he's mad because they're not grateful enough. It's part Broadway meltdown, part power trip, and all sass. You can practically hear the crown slipping as he sings it. The song starts smooth, almost conversational, and then swells into a full-blown narcissistic spiral like, I do all this for you, and you dare question me vibes. And the best part? It's one of those Disney villain songs that feels fun and sparkly on the surface until you realize it's a slow descent into unhinged tyranny. Classic Disney. Wrapped in glitter, lined with dread. King Magnifico joins the ranks of Disney baddies who sing not just to gloat, but to justify their own villainy. That's the true magic of the Disney villain song. It's a mirror, dark and twisted, and reflecting their delusions back at them in full musical theater glory. So whether it's 1937 or 2023, Disney villains will always give us a reason to clap, cackle, and maybe, just maybe, root for the bad guy. And there you have it, dear listeners, a gleeful descent into the most deliciously dramatic corner of Disney's musical kingdom, where the bad guys don't just plot, they perform. Where betrayal comes with backup dancers, and where if you're going to steal a kingdom, a voice, or someone's lifelong dream, you better hit that high note while doing it. From sea witches to snake charmers, diva sorceresses to glammed up tyrants, we've seen how villain songs aren't just entertaining, they're downright unforgettable. Maybe it's the theatrical flair, maybe it's the campy chaos, or maybe, just maybe, it's because deep down, we all kind of want to wear a cape and cackle from a balcony every once in a while. I hope you enjoyed this episode. It was a lot of fun, and I love villain songs. I will link the other villain episode I did in the show notes if you want to listen to that. If you think this week was fun, just wait until next time. I'm trading villains for vocals and heading back home because next week's episode is all about singers who come from my home state of Missouri. That's right. I'll be talking about Missouri's own chart toppers, Grammy winners, and maybe a few surprise names you didn't know hailed from the Show Me State. Until then, stay dramatic, stay musical, and remember, if you ever burst into song mid-monologue, you're probably the villain. but you'll definitely be the most interesting one in the room. Cue the curtain, cue the evil laugh, and cue me saying peace out, everyone. This has been the Music in Me podcast. Subscribe now so you don't miss a beat.